Hi guys, I'm back with another makeup tutorial. I'm going to show you all how to get fine for Valentine's Day. So I've already filled in her brows with MAC's brow pencil in the color Spike. And now I'm just carving out her brows with LA Girls Pro Concealer in the color Yellow. I'm taking that concealer and I'm placing it over her entire lid. I use concealer as an eyeshadow base or a primer. It just shows up better to me, and the reason I'm using yellow is because it's really bright and it's going to help that shadow show up really vibrant. The first eyeshadow I'm using is called Want You Back. It's a soft brown from the ColourPop palette called Rendezvous. I'm taking a clean blending brush and I'm just buffing out that eyeshadow that I already placed there. I want to make sure that everything is perfectly blended well. I went ahead and I added a little bit more concealer and I blended that out with a Real Techniques sponge. I just wanted to make sure that her concealer was increased before I applied that eyeshadow on there. That's really important for you to do that before you place the eyeshadow on the eyelid. All I'm doing is repeating the same steps that I did on the other eye. Moving on to the next eyeshadow, I'll be using the Huda Beauty Ruby Obsessions palette, and I'm just taking a very deep ruby shade and I'm applying it right under that brown shade that I've already used. Whenever you are using a very bold and vibrant eyeshadow, make sure you take a clean blending brush and buff it out because you don't want to spread that color all over the lid and in places where you don't want it. So make sure you just use a clean blending brush. So that's what you see me doing now is I'm just taking that brush and I'm just blending that shade right into that brown shade. So I've blended out that ruby shade and I'm adding a little bit more into the crease because I want that to be really deep. I'm using a rounded flat concealer brush by Wet n Wild, and I'm taking my Makeup Revolution concealer and I'm cutting her crease. That concealer shade is called C1, and now that I've cut both of her creases, I'm taking a brown eyeshadow and I'm just kind of adding it and blending it in with that ruby shade, mainly on the outer parts of her eyeshadow. I want it to fade into brown. Now that concealer has dried down, I'm taking this hot pink shade called Swoon from the Vida Loca palette by Kat Von D. I'm using that Huda Beauty palette again, and I'm taking this red shimmer eyeshadow and I'm placing it on the edges of that pink shadow so that it can create a bit of a fade effect. I want that pink to fade into red, so all I do is pack it into that eyeshadow to make it more vibrant and show up and show out. I'm taking my little blending brush and I'm using a little bit of brown in that crease area because I want it to look very blended. I need everything blended well. That brown shade was called Want You Back, and now this shade is called Shake It Off. I'm sorry, I got them names mixed up, but anyway, this deep burgundy shade that I'm using is called Shake It Off, and the brown shade is Want You Back. As you all can see, my nappy head keeps making an appearance in the camera. I didn't know that my head was so much in the camera, but anyway, I'm repeating the same steps on both eyes. I stood back and looked to see, you know, pretty much was everything matched? Are both eyes matching? And they weren't, so I'm going back in and I'm just blending everything out. I'm using my black eyeliner by NYX. It's the matte black eyeliner, and I'm just lining her eyes, making sure everything looks good. Look at her acting a fool. So now I'm placing her lashes on, and I'm making sure that they're lined up properly and they're right on the lash line. I'm going right over that lash band and I'm making sure that her liner looks perfect, clean, and precise. If you blended your eyeshadow up a little too high close to the brow bone, you can take a little bit of that concealer and kind of go right over that and it'll look perfect. I'm using a shimmering red eyeshadow and I'm putting it right in her corner of her eye, her tear ducts, whatever you want to call it, you know. And now I'm using the Too Faced Born This Way concealer in the color Honey, and I'm applying it right under her eye. After placing it under her other eye, I've placed some of that concealer on her forehead and on her nose, and I'm using my Real Techniques brush to buff the edges of that concealer out. I'm taking the L'Oreal True Match foundation in the color C6, and I'm using a little brush to just apply the foundation wherever I feel that it is needed. And now I'm taking my Instapop brush by Real Techniques and I'm just buffing that right out. Now I'm taking that foundation brush and I'm buffing the rest of the foundation out now, but that's what I was doing on the last scene. And I'm taking my little concealer brush. This isn't a concealer brush, but I use it for concealer. It's by Real Techniques as well. It's amazing to blend out concealer. You all have seen me use it before. And And I'm going back in with that Instapop brush and the little concealer brush, the little fluffy brush, and I'm blending out that concealer. I'm just hopping back and forth with my brushes. These are my 3 brushes that I tend to use for the face like all the time. So that's why you see me holding them. I'm just taking my Real Technique sponge and I'm just blending out wherever I see the concealer has creased. Right before I use the Crayon Cases Chalk Dust Setting Powder to set that concealer. This shade is the shade A. And I'm just placing that wherever I need to set my concealer. When your client is feeling themselves. But them lips is crusty. Look at her. To contour, I'm using the contour palette by Black Radiance in the shades light to medium, and I'm just having her smile so I can place that right under her cheekbones. And now I'm contouring her nose with the contour palette, and I am going to also use some translucent powder to kind of blend out that that shade, because I don't want her nose contour to be too harsh. I'm taking a small brush and I'm just placing NYX's glitter primer right under her eyelid, because I'm placing some red glitter right in the corner of her eyes, as you can see me doing. I'm adding Razin blush by MAC into that contour. And now I'm taking that same red that I used on the outer parts of her eyelid, and I'm just blending it right into that glitter. Now who told her to peek? Hey, do you love it? Do you love it? Do you love it? I think she loves it. I'm using my favorite highlighter from ABH's Moonchild palette. It's a pink highlighter, and I thought that this would be perfect to add on to her look. I'm using a pencil called Bloom by NYX on her eyes, and I'm using a eyeliner called Alkaline by Urban Decay for her lips. So I did not get a chance to record me putting on her lipstick because the camera died. But this is the finishing look. Is it sexy? Is it Valentine's Day-ish? Is she slaying? Let me know. Drop down in the comments. This is the finished look. Happy Valentine's Day. Hope you slay and get sexy for the day. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.